Hi folks, welcome to the preparedhomestead.com. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Well, it seems to be a lot of information today in the news when referencing the war front. Actually, multiple war fronts, Israel, Gaza, the other stuff going on in the Middle East, you know, Iran, Yemen, attacks on ships and stuff, and then also up in Russia and Ukraine with NATO. So several different things happening. It's all has its importance. It's all part of the plan. It's another puzzle piece, right? I mean, we've talked about that many times of how all of these little things that's happening, they're not coincidences, folks. They're all part of their plan. They're just a little puzzle piece in the bigger scope of their plan. And so we may not understand how each piece fits, but we should at least get it that they're puzzle pieces. They're part of their plan, and it kind of helps them move their agenda 2030, their great reset agenda, further down the path. I want to show you something before I get started. You know, I'm not much on product reviews or anything. This is something that I purchased because I was curious about it, and I'm going to try it for the first time with you. This is emergency food that you put in your backpack. This is a brand that's being produced by My Patriot Supply. They did not send this to me. I ordered it myself. Used my own allowance to buy this. And it's the kind that, you know, you take on a backpacking trip or whatever. You add some hot water and you know, boiling water, and you've got a meal. And so I thought I would try it. This one's been setting for a while with some hot water in it. This is the, whoops, about dropped it. This is the chicken Alfredo. They have orange chicken, and they have chili mac. And then they also have, I believe it's a biscuits and gravy or something like that. But these are, two of these are chicken and one's beef. And they're supposed to have whole chunks of meat in them. So I'm going to go ahead and try this out just to see. I just happened to bring along a spoon with me because I'm one of those weirdos that actually prefers eating my food with a spoon instead of a fork. I don't know if I can get that in there too well. It looks really good. This took 3/4 of a cup of hot water, boiling water. You pour it in, and this is 2 servings in this bag. It smells really good. I mean, it doesn't smell all processed, and the ingredients are pretty decent on the ingredients. So there's some big chunks of chicken in it. That's really good. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't know how well you can see that. I don't know if it'll focus in, but there's some pretty big chunks of chicken there. It's kind of a breaded chicken. I probably could have let this set with the hot water just another minute or two, but it's really good. Definitely good. Anyways, thought I'd share that with you. There will be a link, an affiliate link in this description below if you're interested. You know, this probably isn't the most ideal thing for all of your food preps because it is a little pricier, but for something having like in a bug out bag or a get home bag, or if you just do a lot of camping and stuff, it's all American made, American owned company. So pretty good stuff. Just thought I'd share that with you. Anyways, so basically, to kind of give you the rundown, sounds like the Life Flight helicopter's going over. There's been 4 attacks by Yemen rebels just today on ships, merchant ships, and a potential U.S. ship in the Red Sea. Looks like that one of them actually did strike or do some damage to a British flagged ship, British flagged merchant vessel. The U.S. Vessel shot these drones, these attack drones and missiles down, and so there's some concern of more and more escalation there. I think a lot of people have a question in their mind: what happens when one of these actually make contact with a U.S. naval ship? You know, will that escalate things that alone or not? There's been warnings from Iran that the actions between Israel and Hamas needs to end soon, or things are definitely going to escalate. We struck some targets in Iraq and killed several Iranian-backed militia in Iraq. And that, of course, has Iran and Iraq very upset also. So there's stuff going on there. Of course, the ceasefire ended, you should know that already, between Israel and Hamas. And Hamas is stating, or the Gaza government is stating, that there's been 700 Hamas or Gazans killed since they started back the hostilities between the two. And, of course, we don't know how true things are, but according to how it's been at least spun in the media, things are looking pretty bad for the people there in Gaza. In the Gazan Strip, and I'm not taking sides on anything. That's not even it. Israel is talking about setting up a buffer zone between Gaza and Israel, and a lot of the people in the Middle East are not very happy about that one either. Also, the head of NATO, the chief of NATO, has said that that NATO should start preparing for some bad news coming out of Ukraine. What does that mean? Does it mean that the war is completely lost? Or does it mean that it looks like that they're not going to regain any of their lost territory? What all does that actually mean? Of course, we don't know. We just don't know, but it certainly doesn't look good according to what is coming out from NATO. So there's a lot of stuff going on, and maybe we're shifting, back to all of this war stuff. I know we haven't shifted away from it, but there's been other things going on. Of course, there's more earthquakes. There was another 6.7, I think, aftershock just a little bit ago there in the Philippines. There's been a lot of earthquake activity since the big 7.4, 7.5 earthquake there yesterday. And there's talk of probably some more geomagnetic storms coming in because of solar activity in the next couple of days or so. So there's a lot of things happening, and I think that we should probably prepare ourselves for some level of escalation when it comes to war. Looking at what's going on in the Middle East between Israel and Hamas, what's going on between us and Iran. I know that Iran and the United States government, especially the one that's kind of running things now, they really want to go to war with each other. It's like they desperately want to fight each other. And it just looks like that's how things are being set up. And then, of course, like I said, Russia and Ukraine, that's been going on for a while. Most people have lost interest in it by now. And a lot of it's because the media hasn't been telling you that for months now, Ukraine has been horribly losing the war, even though they were sending Abrams tanks. We've approved F-16s. I don't think there's F-16s necessarily on the battlefield. The last I heard is that Ukrainian pilots were training on those F-16s still, but they're supposed to be this fall sometime. I mean, fall's almost over, so I don't know. But what exactly are they talking about bad news? Probably not good. Will it end up being that the war just kind of disappears? I doubt it. I doubt it. I doubt that they're just going to walk away from that one. It could end up still. There's still a possible chance that it could end up being nuclear, and not necessarily in a big strategic nuke, but a small tactical nuke could certainly be used. I mean, if Ukraine gets desperate, could they acquire one, and could they use one against Russia? Most definitely. Even if it's not necessarily a nuclear weapon, but a dirty bomb or something, they would definitely, I think, have the capability and the motive to do something like that. And then could that escalate the war? That's what happens, and that's what's always been the case when it comes to nuclear weapons, that they're so dangerous, because if you have some type of nuclear weapon and you feel yourself as painted in the corner in a war that you're on the verge of losing, would you use it to turn the tide? I mean, in a lot of ways, that's what we did in Japan. And so I think the question is that if Ukraine gets desperate, would they use something like that? I don't know. I mean, the story is they don't have a nuclear weapon. That's debatable, but they definitely have nuclear material because there's nuclear power plants in their country. So even if it's not a standard conventional nuclear weapon, it could be a nuclear based dirty bomb. So there's a lot of stuff going on when it comes to the war, and it's not that I'm here giving you answers. I'm here, keeping you updated on what's going on, but then also encouraging you to take these matters serious, at least enough that you're actively, working on your own preparedness. If you look at the things that are happening right now, you've got an election coming up in less than a year. You've got a pneumonia that's spreading around and could potentially cause some type of reaction from the government and panic from the people. Maybe not as bad as what we saw 3 or actually almost 4 years ago now. Maybe worse, we don't know. Because a lot of this, it seems to be happening in children, and I think people will react different if we're starting to see lots and lots of children. No offense to you elderly folks, but I think the emotional reaction would be different if there's, thousands and thousands of children in hospitals versus thousands and thousands of elderly, people and people that already have health issues in hospitals. And if that happens, we could definitely see a very adverse reaction from the people and from the government. So you've got war stuff going on, you've got economic stuff going on, you've got the health stuff going on, you've got an election in a year, we've got the sun acting all crazy and volcanoes and earthquakes happening all over the place. We've got various organizations and news agencies saying that we are in the midst of one of the worst food crises in the last several decades, even worse than the Arab Spring. And you add all that together with inflation, and it's a recipe for disaster, folks. It's an absolute recipe for a disaster, and this isn't, hyping things up. This isn't, trying to, spread fear and stuff. These are just real things that are happening, and so we need to act accordingly, and really be increasing your preparedness level, folks. I don't really think we have much time. I know I've been saying that for a long time, but I still believe it. In my personal opinion. Even if you said, oh, well, we have at least 2 years, I don't think that we do, but let's just pretend. If you said, well, we've got 2 years, that's still not a lot of time, folks. That's still not a lot of time. So we need to be taking things serious and getting ready and getting your houses in order. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.